Welcome to the Wealth Genius Podcast, brought to you by the Expand Wealth Real Estate Fund. Expand your wealth by investing in apartment buildings. Go to expandwealthfund.com to book your info session. The Wealth Genius Podcast, strategies for multifamily real estate investing, mindset, community, success. The Wealth Genius Podcast with your host, the godfather of real estate, Alfonso Cuadra, who has expansive experience in business and massive success as a real estate investor. The Wealth Genius Podcast. Let's dive into today's episode.
Live. Hey, salute.
Hey,
salute
cheers.
to my brother. Good to have you back. Back on the pod.
Whoa.
Calvin, Edmonton, superstar. You got a conference coming up. And what's going on in this conference? What are we going to be doing? I'm there. I'm going to be there. What are we going to be doing?
Yeah, RECON. RECON is coming up again for the second year in a row. First year we sold out very quick. This year we're elevating the experience. That is the primary goal. And this room, we have not only a ton of professionals, reputable professionals that help anybody build a stronger power team, after leaving the weekend, but we're also, We're introducing this event, which is a collaboration amongst some of the top individuals across Canada, like yourself and a lot of other top speakers, for new investors, experienced investors, and those that have been doing it for longer than I've been alive, kind of thing. And when we went back to the drawing board after the first RECON,
Which is great. I mean, I remember it was like
it was we had such a
Yeah,
vibe.
it was
The
energy.
mojo was so good, and that's one thing with events. Like you can, as right, you've done hundreds of events.
Mm-hmm.
You can have everything, lined up and perfect. That seems like it on paper, but sometimes you don't always have that mojo, right? Like we've had golf tournaments that have had it, and then other golf tournaments that haven't. But RECON just had this mojo, this energy that you can't describe without actually being in the room. And the amount of feedback, positive feedback, was the best I've ever received on any events. And we've done lots of large-scale events, 600 plus people. And the best point of gratitude that I received from that entire event was when we put up the pre-sale opportunity for 2025, and we didn't have a date, right? We didn't have anything. We just said RECON 2025, scan here to get your tickets.
Yeah.
And we had, I think it was 13% of the room that purchased their pre-sale tickets.
Because they loved it so much.
Because they loved it so much. Normally, whenever we do pre-sale, we're expecting 5 to 8% is pretty good for our books, right? I don't know how you guys, what your numbers are, but we hit like 13%. And that reason, I was like, there's this thirst, there's this appetite that's not being, handled right now. And it's just this opportunity that we're creating for so many people, whether you're new, experienced, whatever it is. And so I was like, we have the recipe. Grandma's cookies were a hit. Right? We passed Grandma's cookies to everybody. Everybody loves Grandma's cookies. So we don't want to change the recipe because the mojo was there, the energy was there. And so we want to make sure that we still have the original batch of Grandma's cookies, but how do we create this extra flavor that might just elevate it just a little bit? You know what I mean? So if you went last year, there's something else to look forward to a little bit more. And the subjects and everything and the people we're having on stage, we're definitely elevating even more this year. But we talked about how do we elevate the experience for everybody. So what we're doing is we're creating a different path. So if you're brand new to real estate, you come into events like this, you don't always understand the terminology. You're kind of a step behind everybody else, right? You may not know what's happening. So we're creating a Friday session for all brand new realtors. And this Friday session is going through, why do people invest in real estate? What's some of the terminology you're going to hear? But you also get set up with a squad leader, essentially like a tour guide throughout the entire weekend, because these new investors, they don't know how to conference. I know that sounds really weird, but they don't know how to network. They don't know how to conference. And they don't have a lot of the information that they need to kind of take themselves to the next level. And so we're taking more of a customized approach with each individual on whatever your experience level is. So if you are more experienced, we're going to recommend certain breakout rooms. Right? We're probably going to create more opportunities for you to be in front of other experienced investors as well. So we're trying to define your path a little bit more, or at least show you what that path could look like, because it's hard to make sure that everyone's experience in the room is improved, but we're going to do our darndest to make sure that happens. So we're raising the bar this year for ourselves, and I think it's going to be a good challenge, and we've already received tons of great feedback.
I can't wait. One thing that I just kind of like, I'm generating these questions here as you're speaking. You know, you're a real estate agent. So most real estate agents are just focused about maybe running their team and, selling houses and properties. What in the world? Because I'm from the event space. I mean, I would sometimes, during some events, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. But what in the world inspired you to do this conference? Because you could have been even one and done. You know what I mean? We did it. I mean, because I know how wild it is. You know what I mean? And so it's like, it's almost like what compels you, number one, to continue to do this conference, and what inspired you in the first place?
Definitely. I think right from the very beginning, my life before real estate was a regional manager in the fitness and health. And before that was personal training. And it was always about...
I got to get my gym on when I see...
I sit down and I see Alfonso's like...
I got to...
All right, Cal. Yeah.
Well, I told you that your picture, I thought it was AI. I'm like, is this guy got chiseled, like perfectly chiseled face there? But you obviously take care of yourself, and continue.
You know what? Right from the very beginning, it was about making an impact, right? It wasn't about I didn't get into real estate for doing deals. I didn't get into real estate because I had a family member that had a book of business. I didn't actually know a single realtor. I don't have anybody in my family that ever invested in real estate.
Oh, wow.
Like the separation, it's like, how everybody knows like a realtor and a DJ? I'm the one family that didn't have either. You know what I mean? I don't know what it was, but it was a weird paradox. So I came in kind of behind a lot of people, but I came in with a different intention than I think many, and I just wanted to make the largest impact possible. And as I'm growing and learning, it allows me to make a larger impact. And that larger impact means making more of an intentional impact with each individual person that I meet, but also in the masses as well. So I wouldn't feel like I'm doing proper justice for myself. I wouldn't be sleeping at night. That if I'm sharpening my tools and I'm strengthening, myself and growing, if I wasn't giving back at a larger, in a larger scale, I probably wouldn't be able to sleep at night, just to be perfectly honest, right? And so I think that's part of, for you as well, is you could have started this coaching program that had 100 to 200 people, made a really good, solid impact, right? With like a lot of coaches do, but you've gone ahead and taken it past 1,000, and now you're merging like 1,400 members, right? Yeah. And so I think the intention of what you go into this with, I think, is going to directly help with that, what that result looks like. I don't have a finish line, neither do you, right? I can probably speak for you. You don't have a finish line. It's not like once we hit 2,000 members. No, because think about the Alfonso, when you hit 2,000 members, you're like, well, how do we make a bigger impact?
Well, that's what I tell people. When does a tree stop growing?
Right.
It doesn't.
That's
it's either growing or it's dying.
Right. But if we went into this industry and it was like, okay, my goal is to help 100 people, or my goal is to make an X amount of income. Yeah. I mean, you'd hit it, then what? You're going to get bored. Right. And I wouldn't be doing, we wouldn't be doing ourselves justice if we had greater tools, more relationships, and the ability to give back more if you didn't actually give back more. And so we're not just a real estate team. We want to be able to create better opportunities for those that we work with, not only professional partners, but also investors, primary home buyers. That's a big part of what we do as well. So
I love it. And, the second you reached out for the first RECON and we had that conversation, I'm like, man, this, not only do you know your stuff, but I could tell that you have the right intentions. I could tell that you're wanting to bring value to your community, and you have in a very big way. And so RECON, what are the dates? Where is it going to be? We're obviously going to put all the information in the show notes, but give us the info.
Definitely. So we're September 6th and 7th. We love having the event in September. September is kind of like the second January when it comes to
everything restarts. It's a rebirth.
That's right. And you kind of realign. It's like, okay, so I have a couple months left of the year. Where am I and where do I want to be? And so this event is going to help you get realigned. It's also going to help you fast track your ability to walk into a successful 2026 with the right context, with the right information. It's at the JW Marriott, so we went big this time. In my opinion, the JW Marriott is probably one of my favorite venues. I would say Avario and JW are probably they're both fantastic, but we're excited to be right in the ICE district, right? And so it's going to be bigger, it's going to be bolder than last year, and it's going to pack a much bigger punch. So
And how can so for tickets and all that? Where do people find tickets?
Definitely, yeah. So you want to follow us on socials because we're a fast evolving, and the website also will have the tickets as well. But I would say socials or the website would be two great resources that you can use.
And what's the website?
REIconference.ca.
And the one with REICon, right? Is it? Or conference.
So
because I remember the first time.
Yeah, so real
I
estate
kept going to REICon.
I know.
.com and it was like
there's nothing. Probably taking you to an OnlyFans page or something. Yeah. So REI conference. So we just did REICon. Kind of like all the different cons out there.
Oh, for sure. I love it. I love it. Yeah. So, but what the website is.
REIconference.ca.
So don't go to REICon like me.
You might find something interesting there. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
A different conference.
Yeah,
I like your conference in San Diego.
That's right.
We made that mistake. My wife and I, we were going to a conference in San Diego. What was it, hon? We were going to San Diego, but we ended up in San Antonio. Oh, something. We had tickets.
So 3 hours.
So it happens. It happens.
Yeah.
So why is Edmonton so hot? Like, what's going on? What's going on here, guys?
Yeah.
What's going on?
You know what? Edmonton
is it sustainable?
I mean, we've never had massive ebb and flows like a lot of larger cities. We've always just been the very consistent performer. Even though, when you compare prices from last year to this year, we're up by 10%.
Yeah.
That's some of the largest appreciation that we've ever experienced at Edmonton. But it's kind of this perfect formula where I know these larger cities are really being affected right now, and I think I think there's a lot of things that are weighing on these cities, overdevelopment. But Edmonton's just been this steady growth, right? I think like anything in life, if you see a massive expansion, you're probably going to have some kind of ripple effect and you're going to see the downfall at some point, right?
Yeah.
And so with Edmonton, I mean, when it comes to affordability, job opportunity, I feel like we have a really good balance when it comes to our GDP with oil and gas. We're not so heavily weighted on oil and gas where if we start to see the price per barrel tank, we do get affected, but it's not as to the same degree as Calgary. We have more manufacturing, we have more technology,
education.
Yeah. So we're a little bit more balanced that way. But when oil does well, we do exceptionally well. It's like this perfect storm, and it's fun because Edmontonians don't realize of how much of a hotspot Edmonton is. If you're in Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, Vancouver, you know how much of a hotspot Edmonton is.
Well, we're calling it Albertario.
Right.
All the Ontarian people from Ontario are moving to Alberta.
That's right. Yeah. You know what? And every single week we work with either a family or an investor that's looking at purchasing, and the greater bulk of people that are coming through is from Ontario.
Yeah. Wow. Well, in Ontario, just the prices, some things don't make sense. And, when you look at Edmonton, it's like, wow, everything's on sale. So I could see why it's so hot. And, you got a whole team. You got a whole team to support you on that. And you'll probably meet them at the conference. What else can we expect at the conference?
It's 2 days. First day we focus on large room, and then second day we go a little more specialty. So we'll have like the breakout room, so you can kind of fit within your tribe, which I love to see. So you have the ability to pick your path throughout the entire weekend. We do a lot of intentional networking as well, because a big part of these conferences is walking away with the right relationships that will help you with your growth and your journey, whatever that unique journey looks like to you. So it's going to be fantastic. We are so excited for it. And we're excited to have you at it as well. I mean, you're like this energy, this ball of energy. I'm trying to think of you as like a Marvel character. I don't know if it's like, do you guys have, what would be Alfonso as a Marvel character? He's like the unstoppable, like the sun or something. You know what I mean? Like just this energy that just doesn't die.
I don't watch Marvel, but I'm waiting for that Latino Marvel character. What all we got is Nacho Libre, and I'm not good with that.
Right. Yeah. So
I'm waiting for that Latino one.
That's right.
But maybe I'm gonna be the one that's gonna be that specialty one. But Calvin, thanks so much. I'm looking forward to the RECon. What's the date again?
September 6th and 7th.
6th and 7th. So get your tickets, guys. Don't slack on it, because it sold out. It almost sold out. Did it sell out last year? So don't slack. Get your tickets right away. Join join Calvin on the socials, and before we wrap things up here, give us some inspiration. What's a mantra? What's something that you live by?
You know, if I was to say one word, is progress. So don't feel like you need to, if you're climbing Mount Everest, you don't have to look at the top, just look at your next step, right? I know when you come to these conferences, I know when I first started, I'll give you a quick little story. When I first started back in 2013 investing, I didn't know that there was any resources like, books. I didn't know that there was events you can go to. I didn't know there was coaches. In 2018, I realized that there was REIN, right? Real Estate Investor Network, which was quite large across Canada. And I walked into the room and I felt like the smallest person on earth. So like in my world, I felt like I was doing really well because I had a few investment properties. And then I go into this room and people have hundreds of doors and I just felt very insignificant. And I would say like when you're going to these conferences, I don't want to tell you how not to feel, but you know what I mean? It's not about how many doors you have. It's not about, because how many doors you have in happiness, there's no synergistic parallel. How much money you have and how happy you are, there's no synergistic parallel. The biggest thing that you can focus on is progress. And you'll notice if you make little bits of progress every single day, whatever that is, you will find greater happiness. And I can almost guarantee that, right? As long as that progress is in the direction of what your goals are.
And you can measure it, right? You could say, look,
and you can measure it.
Yeah, you could, I've grown this much. Maybe it's just like an inch or whatever it is. They say inch by inch, it can be a cinch. Yard by yard can be hard.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Progress. Calvin, thank you so much. And that's the show. Alfonso loves you. We'll see you at the top. Woo!